What's up? Welcome back, Facebook and YouTube. This is a very important video. This is not going to be your normal video today. You are living in a world today that hates God and that is at war with the feminine aspect. Let me repeat. You are living in a world today that is at war with the Creator and at war with the creation and at war with the feminine aspect to creation. And at the end of this video, you will understand why this is so important. All right. Now, this video is going to change a lot of y'all lives. So let's hop right into it. And I'm going to set the stage with some basic and then we're going to dive deep. Basically, what you must realize is that there are a lot of new disinformation seeds going around. And it's important that I expose them so that y'all don't fall for the okie doke. It's very simple, people. The Creator is in control and you have no need to fear. Now, there's a lot of guys going around today planting fear seeds, and what they're telling people is that the earth is planet X. Now I'm gonna play a little clip from a video from you today, and I'm gonna show y'all this new doctrine that's going around. It's really not new because I've been aware to it, but it's on the rise right now. We're gonna talk about a lot of stuff today. I used to listen to this guy on YouTube, and I started doing research for myself, and I realized that what was happening was I was really in a cult and I didn't know it. See, the guy was telling me a bunch of information about the earth that was, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, it was spooky. It was scaring me. I gotta be honest, even as a Christian, I can't lie to you. The thought of hell and the devil scared me to do right. But what I'm telling y'all, we shouldn't be scared to do right. It should be a personal choice. You shouldn't be scared and do anything out of fear. Now, what is this guy teaching? I keep telling y'all that Mother Earth is under attack and the feminine aspect is under attack, especially our true cosmology is under attack. Been under attack for centuries. Now these patriarchs, what are they doing? They are teaching this new theory that the Earth is actually planet X. Now, how do they come up with this theory? I'm going to tell y'all how they do it. Anytime you going out here in this world and you're a negative person in your heart and you research information, everything you're going to draw from the information is going to be negative because you're a negative person. So understand that people that's teaching that the earth is planet X, they're saying that planet X is not your home and that it's a hellhole and that basically there's nothing good about the earth. It's an illusion. You shouldn't even be on this earth. These people teach that you being born was a mistake and that you fell here to a prison and that your body is actually a prison too. This is a type of message that will drive you crazy if you're not smart. This is a type of message that is spoken by negative people, y'all, because we must keep something in mind. Now, the same people that say stuff like this, y'all, when they go to telling you how everything was created, they never mention God. They always talk about a different monsters or, Elohims, which are nothing but the elements, because we all know that the Creator used the elements to create this creation, which is composed of a bunch of diverse elements that's working in unison. Okay, so all of these elements was created by one source. So in a sense, you can say that the act of division is divine and it's not taken away, it's expanding. When God divided itself up into the elements, it made a sacrifice to create this diverse reality. All right. Now, the act of dividing itself into the elements, the Elohim was created. Because when Creator created all these elements, you got to understand that all of the elements are somewhat conscious, okay? Wind is conscious that it's wind. Water is conscious that it's water, and so on and so on. So God create things that have intelligence and consciousnesses of their own because God is the original source, the original state of consciousness. God can't create anything that's dead and lack consciousness. So with that being said, when we talk about the Elohim, we're not talking about these mysterious monsters that's guarding a stargate somewhere in outer space and that when you die, you got to find your way to this stargate or you're going to be lost and you got to give them the password or you don't make it in. No, people. The Elohim simply mean the elements. You got a lot of people out here in fear who misinterpreting this knowledge, and what they doing is they creating cults with it. I'm going to show y'all how this works. A lot of people that say the earth is planet X, they're misinterpreting ancient cosmology. A lot of them say that based upon no real foundation. You can't prove that earth is planet X other than drawing a circle and putting the X on it. And what you must realize when you do that is that our Mayan ancestors already had this symbol. What you must realize about our ancestors' symbols is that our ancestors made a lot of those symbols to scare negative people off. It's all about perception, people. So you'll see the truth in the symbol only if you positive. For example, I'm going to use the Ankh for example. You got to keep in mind every symbol means many, many things. But depending on where your consciousness is at, depending on how many things you're going to get from the symbol when you look at it. So that's the magic of the symbol, because the enemies invaded our ancestors can look at the same symbols we looked at for years, but based on where their consciousness was, they wouldn't know how to decode the symbols. So our ancestors knew that. So a lot of these symbols you see that look scary and all of that, it was to scare away negative people. Because if you're a negative person, when you look at some of these ancient symbols, you're going to interpret them in a negative way. And that's what our ancestors wanted some people to do, so they don't get the knowledge and corrupt it. The ancestors knew that if you was a negative people and you looked at this symbol right here, you would say stuff like Earth is planet X and it's a hellhole. Our ancestors knew it. No, y'all, that's not the truth. The ancestors made the symbol this way to scare away negative people. But the person who understand the symbol and ain't scared of it and who mature enough to do the research understand that the X is very divine. There's nothing evil about the X, people. The X is the X chromosome. That's the woman. That's the dominant chromosome. The Y chromosome represents the male and the X chromosome represents the woman or the mother. So when you see this circle with the X on it, it only supports what I've been telling y'all, that the earth is the mother, that the circle of the earth is a feminine body, okay? This is a feminine system or a matriarch system. So when you see this X here, we're talking about the X chromosome, people. We also talking about X marks the spot because in the center of the circle, there is a hole that leads to the inner earth. This hole can be looked at as a vagina, and the North Pole is a vertical pole that actually descends from above the firmament all the way into the inner earth, feeding this cosmic egg. So that can be looked at as a penis going into the vagina. If you really want to look at it as above, so below, mothers give birth to sons and daughters, but only the daughters go out there and repeat that process. Only them daughters go out there and become mothers and give birth again to sons and daughters. The sons just assist by giving the light charge to the egg that's already in the woman. Okay, so I got plenty videos coming on that. We can't escape the divinity of that feminine aspect. So when you hear a lot of people attack Mother Earth and say it's planet X and it's a hellhole and you shouldn't care about the earth and it's not beautiful, it's a hell, you got to get away from that type of thinking, people. That kind of thinking will kill you quicker than cigarettes. That kind of thinking will put so much stress and strain on your nervous system and give you cancer quicker than you know it, because you're being negative. Now, we all know it's good and bad in this world. You walk outside that door, you're going to see some good, you're going to see some bad. But it ain't about what's out there. It's about what's in you. It's how you perceive your reality. I can go out that door and focus on just the bad, and I'll be a miserable man. Which you do got a lot of miserable men, and they making everybody else miserable. All right, I'm a 30-plus-year-old man, and I've learned something that for you to say to a person that the earth is hell, and by you being born here was a curse and you failed somehow, that's a miserable person to think of the creation in such a negative light based upon things that's bad on the planet that we are responsible for, first of all. So, like I said, you can walk out that door and focus on the bad and say you living in the hell all you want, but you might as well kill yourself. Why live if that's your attitude? First of all, I don't see how you can go to the beach on a nice summer day and look out at the beach and say you live in a hell. I don't see how you can go to the mountains and look out at nature and look at the animals playing with each other and look at the butterflies and say you live in a hell. I just don't see it, people. I don't see how you can look at all of the beautiful fishes in the ocean and look at all of the colorful birds and just look at the puffiness of those beautiful clouds and the hue of the blue that makes up the sky. And you look at all of this beauty around you and say, you know what? I live in a hell, and being born here was a prison. Why was I even born? People, that's a miserable person. And that's the kind of perception that will kill you quicker than cancer, okay? We know that there's bad things in this earth and there's good things, but you shouldn't focus on the bad and say that you live in the hell, because you can just as well focus on the good and say that you live in the heaven. For every bad thing about this planet, there's a million good, y'all, all right? There's a million good. In fact, only a few small people that's bad who run the world. The rest of us 9 billion people on the bottom, I would say 95% of us are good people, okay? There's a lot going on out there that needs to be addressed. Now, as I mentioned in previous videos, we're in a matriarch system. That's a marriage. That means the divine feminine created this cosmos or this cosmic egg, and she married herself to this cosmic egg. Meaning when you see a beehive, you only see one hive and one queen bee. You don't see a queen bee that's managing a million hives. You see one queen bee that has dedicated herself to that one hive. And that's what we're in right now, a matriarch system, people. So understand that you are unique and we are special. And there is no other life like human life nowhere in the universe. There is no other place like Earth anywhere in the universe, okay? Planets, as you've been told by NASA, is a hoax and a deception, and they're not solid places that you can go and land on, okay? And the creator is not dumb enough to create a bunch of useless chunks of rocks just floating around in a void of darkness. All of these planets they telling you about, they telling you that none of them have life but Earth. So even in their little fake cosmology, you see that we're special. They haven't found life anywhere else. The creator telling us how special we is, but we don't want to acknowledge that, okay? We want to create all of these other bogus worlds. If you look at NASA's cosmos, it's a bunch of planets that's barren with no life on them. They're scary places that's dark and dry, no water, no life. They just useless. Useless pieces of chunks floating in the void of darkness, and they're just in the way. And these people are saying when you die, you got to find your way through all of this rubbish and find your way through all of these clunks and chunks and make it to some Stargate that's being guarded by some beings. And it's just a lot going on, and it's just not that complicated, people. All of that stuff is spookism, all right? These are people who hate the earth. These are people who are not satisfied with their lives, and they became negative, and they're convincing a whole bunch of other people to perceive their reality in a negative way. What you're going to get is a cult similar to Jim Jones, where you got a lot of people who say the earth's so bad that we might as well drink this poison and kill ourselves and escape it because it's so bad. That rainbow is so bad. Them clouds and those eagles and that beautiful ocean is so bad, okay? People, this is insanity. This is insanity all based on the perception of an individual. Now, my take on all of this is you let no one tell you how to perceive your reality, okay? If someone want to go out there and perceive this reality as a hell because they're a negative person, good for them. If you want to see it in a positive light because there are more positive things on the planet than there are negative, okay, then you do that and you stay positive because your heart chakra is important. The heart chakra, people, is very important. Your heart must be light as a feather. Understand that your heart can't be light as a feather with a philosophy that teaches you that the earth is a hell. In order for your heart to be light as a feather, you have to stay positive and harness love energy. And it's strange that a lot of people who are teaching this Planet X crap are also teaching people that they shouldn't love a lot. I'm not playing. I'm not lying on anybody. A lot of these guys that's pushing this fake Planet X rhetoric are also teaching the people that they shouldn't be loving. that they should hate as much as they love. In other words, balance your hate with your love. Well, I disagree with that. I believe that love is the most powerful energy in the universe, even above hate. I believe what you're calling hate should be also redefined. Now, with that being said, no, you should hate as much as you love. You should love above anything. Love is the answer. And I'll take anybody to bank on that one, okay? If the world had an abundance of love, then I just don't see anything bad going on. I just don't see it. If this world had an abundance of love, how could anything go wrong? It can only go right, people. You can't have too much of love. Now, understand that all of this stuff go with this same cosmology that's targeting the feminine, and they targeting the X chromosome because that represents the divine feminine. That's you, women, that X chromosome. So anybody making a mockery out of the planet X, saying that, it represents a planet that's a hellhole and it's Nibiru or something like that, that's a bunch of baloney that's used to induce fear and make you perceive your reality in a negative way. These people are being manipulated, y'all, and these people are being led astray by their own negative perception of their reality and their own messed up lives. Y'all, a lot of people who see this kind of information to shape your world like this in your mind and make you in fear and just make you become a negative person about everything. They're negative people, y'all. Now, real quick, something very important I want to point out to you. I'm hearing a lot of globe earthers use the word light orb when they refer to the sun. I just want to let you guys know something. Whenever you hear a globe earther use the word light orb to refer to the sun, realize that they have no idea what they are talking about, and that they are actually supporting the flat earth cosmology. See, people, globe earthers are heliocentrists, and heliocentrists say that the sun is a giant ball of fire, nuclear fusion, a chunk of fire. And in case you didn't know, the sun that heliocentrists give you is a solid object. Okay, that wouldn't be a light orb. All right, now we finna tear this thing apart about this whole globe earthers using the term light orb, because that's a flat earth term. And whenever you hear globe earth use it, they don't know what they talking about. Now stay with me. Remember that any kind of orb is an object that orbits another object, and that the word orb simply means orbit. Now, I keep telling y'all in these videos that our ancients call the sun and the moon light orbs. They call the celestial bodies luminaries. That's another word for light orb, y'all. Luminary, light orb. Okay, that's totally different than the sun that comes with the Helios model. That sun is a literal ball of fire, plasma, nuclear fusion. That's solid, people. Light is not solid, okay? So that's one thing what globe earthers must realize, that they don't even understand the terminology that they're using. If you refer to the sun as a light orb, you're referring to a flat earth, my friends, because in order for a light to be orbiting the earth can't be also orbiting that light. So when you hear globalists talk about the sun being a light orb, they automatically putting their own foot in their mouth, because they're saying that the sun is orbiting the earth. If the sun is a light orb, or a light being that's orbing or orbiting something, what is it orbiting? Okay, that light orb was said to be orbiting the earth by our ancestors. Now these heliocentrists will tell you that the sun is a light orb that's orbiting the center of the Milky Way, but scientifically that's impossible, y'all. They telling you the sun moving over 100,000 miles per hour going around the galaxy, and that the earth is also going around the sun at over 40,000 miles per hour, also while spinning 1,000 miles per hour, and yet we feel none of it. But if I put you on a merry-go-round and let you go 10 miles an hour, you gonna get off dizzy, ready to vomit. But yet we going all of these high speeds and we feel nothing, and the ocean tides is just as peaceful as they can be. So understand, when you hear somebody saying light orb and they're a globe earther, they don't know what they're talking about. And also understand that the earth is to be respected. She is the mother, and that she is under attack, and the feminine aspect is under attack. Okay, the X is divine. It's nothing to be scared of like these fearmongers are trying to make you. Now let's move on. Understand that there is no globe earth psyop. Let me repeat, there is no globe earth psyop. There is only a flat earth psyop, and that is so unfair, okay? That's not right. That's like saying it can only be one way. We know that your government put these coin words on anything to keep people away from it and to put a stigma on it. You must realize something, brothers and sisters. The government put the word psyop on flat earth. Flat earthers didn't do that. Okay, the government put that word on us, and it has stuck with us, and they have a lot of their puppets going around making sure that it stays, okay? So a lot of globe earthers can't refute the facts that we're putting out here, so they resort to name calling. They call you flat brain or psyop. Okay, these are the names that the government armed their people with to go against the ancient truth. But we ain't going to let none of these labels stop us, okay? One thing I want to point out about the psyop is that open up your mind and think a little bit, people. What is some of the stuff that has transpired in our reality these past few years? Let's see. Hip-hop housewives, world star hip-hop, Caitlyn Jenner getting a change. You know, all this type of crap, Donald Trump and all of this type media stuff that just is senseless. So all of this stuff transpired and we ate it up. We was making YouTube videos on it. We was eating it up, y'all. We didn't say it was a psyop. Now, ancient truth come to us from the ancestors. And we say, get away from that. It's bull crap. It's a psyop. People, isn't that weird? Wouldn't you think that's weird? Caitlyn Jenner getting a sex change, we ate it up, that wasn't a psyop. Love and hip hop, that wasn't a psyop, that wasn't a distraction. Celebrity hip hop wives beating each other up on TV every time you cut it on, that's not a distraction, that's not a psyop. Donald Trump is not a psyop, he's not a distraction. But ancient cosmology is a psyop. You really got to think about that, people. What are your government trying to do here? That's a war using terms, using labels, okay? That's the psyop right there, the psychological war, turning you away from that which can save you, which can help you by stigmatizing it. And your government has been doing that for years, people. I don't see how many of y'all ain't even caught on to it and calling y'all selves so enlightened. Y'all are turning right out there and go call flat earth knowledge a psyop with the government. And I don't understand it, people, because a lot of globe earthers, before this knowledge came out, they was attacking the government. A lot of globe earthers were making videos about GMO, about chemtrails. Now they're making videos about their brothers and sisters who are flat earthers. But their brothers and sisters who are flat earthers are still making videos about the government. So people, that's not right. That's not fair. Your flat earth brothers and sisters are out here putting the heat on the government in the area of space, y'all, and we still attacking the government. Our globe earth brothers and sisters may disagree with us, but they shouldn't be attacking us. We should all still be attacking the government. So like I said, your globe earth brothers and sisters was talking about Monsanto, chemtrails, and all of that. Now they're making videos against their own people who we supposed to be fighting the government together. See, flat earthers are still fighting NASA. We're still fighting the government. Why are globe earthers fighting us? We all should be fighting the government. So that's the big psyop, people. It's not the knowledge. And it would take a very immature people to blame anything on knowledge, because knowledge can only empower you. The only thing that can separate and divide people and cause chaos is lies, okay? Is misinformation. Any knowledge that will come along will only reverse and help the situation. I never heard of knowledge corrupting anybody, people. Knowledge has always been stated to be power, and knowledge is always power. Knowledge is never separation and division. We can't blame that on knowledge. When you get those things, you have to blame it on ego. You have to blame it on everything but the knowledge, because the lack of knowledge is what kills a people. The lack of knowledge is what destroys a people, y'all. Come on now, that's common sense. sense. You can't get too much knowledge, just like you can't get too much love. Only way you can get too much knowledge is if you get too much and it's stroking your ego and giving you the big head. But the knowledge itself is harmless. It's actually good for the world. So let's get that in perspective, but let's move on with some more stuff that I see plaguing the planet today that's complete misinformation. The earth is at the center of the universe, and there are no other places of existence. We are special. We were created directly by the Creator, not through a bunch of chaotic collisions. So a lot of people would tell you that the Creator created this, and then all of these objects that the Creator created somehow had minds of their own flying through a void of darkness, and that these objects clashed and collided. And over time, from all of the dust and all of the collisions, we were created last from the remnants of the solar dust of all of this solar chaos. That makes no sense, people. All of that puts a barrier in between us and the Creator. The Creator created this existence directly, okay? Not through a bunch of chaotic collisions. So it didn't happen from a big bang and a bunch of stupid stuff clashing into each other that created us as a mistake. The Creator created you directly and knew exactly what it was doing. Do you understand how high-tech the human body is? There's no way it can be composed of collisions and stardust. There's an intelligent being that created us and this earth, and there is no other places of existence that we know of. Anything else you say that's out there with human life on it is just a speculation and belief. The only thing we know of with this existence that we're experiencing today is our existence. This is why we should feel special. This is why we should feel chosen, because we are chosen. There isn't anything like a human that exists anywhere else, and there isn't anything like the earth that exists anywhere else, people. We're unique and we're special, and we were created directly by the Creator. Now, this realization leads to a lot of deeper questions, but we got to get past the deception. Otherwise, we're going to be asking stupid questions like, is there life on this moon or life on that moon? And there's nothing up there. Those are luminaries, which leads to another subject I need to get on. I live in Las Vegas, y'all. One of the tallest peaks in this valley is Mount Charleston. Now, a lot of people say you can go to Mount Charleston with a telescope and actually see moons revolving around planets and stuff like that. They say if you go up on a mountain and get away from the city lights, you can actually see moons going around planets. When you hear someone say that, tell them to show it to you. Tell them to take their telescope and show you this so you don't just have to take their word. And the reason I say that, brothers and sisters, is because that is a lie. You cannot see any moons orbiting a planet with your telescope. And now I'm finna show y'all why. Let me show y'all something right quick. What I'm doing right now is making a point. You got a lot of people out here telling you about the stars and what you can see at the stars. And most of these people never looked at a star through a telescope in their entire life. If you're dealing with the stars and you don't own a telescope, you really can't say as much as a person who do own a telescope. So since I do talk a lot about the stars, I do think it's appropriate for me to show y'all that I do own a telescope, okay, and that I'm not just talking out the side of my neck. I go to the mountain every month and I watch the stars religiously, people. So can't nobody just tell Brother Sanchez what he's gonna see when he look up at the stars, because I'm gonna take him to the bank on it. The people who telling y'all this crap don't own telescopes. So tell them if they're talking about the stars before they even begin to show you their telescope. That way you know you're getting accurate information from somebody who doing their research firsthand. Okay, instead of regurgitating. Because until you look up at them stars yourself in the telescope, guess what? You can't really say much about it. So into the stars, but they can't show you the most crucial thing that any astronomer should need, and that's a telescope. Okay, just real quick, I also go to the beach a lot. So I'm always looking at the horizon. I'm always looking at the stars. Can't nobody just tell me anything, all right? Now with this piece right here, zoom in 20 millimeters enhanced. And if I want to multiply that 20 millimeters, I can put the 3 times Barlow lens and put it in here. Okay, and then attach it to the telescope and really zoom in. So when you're in the mountains, you can see a whole lot when you're away from the city lights. So you can imagine when I got this thing in the mountains and I'm focused on a celestial body and I'm zoomed all the way in, those objects up there are luminaries. Because if they were, now I'm telling y'all from firsthand experience now, and what I see when I look up there are not solid objects, and I never saw a moon rotating around any planet. In fact, when you get into your telescope, by your telescope and all of that, and go to reading about it, you don't even see that nowhere in the program. Anybody telling you that you can see a moon go around a planet with a telescope, they're very ignorant people. Because if you can see, think about it. According to NASA, the moon goes around the earth every couple of hours or so. So you know how long you would have to stand there and look at a planet's moon go around it to actually see it go around it? People, when the moon circles the earth in a complete circle, according to NASA, when it circles its whole 24-hour course and the sun do the same, you just created a day. So how can a person look up at a planet now, especially some of these planets they saying where it take 3 months to make one day? Okay, some of these planets out there, they saying it take a whole year to make one day. What I'm trying to figure out is a person saying that you can look through a telescope and see a moon orbiting a planet. That's baloney. You know how long you would have to stand there to see just an inch of the moon move if that was true? What, people think these moons just going around the planets like this in real time? So no, you just can't stand on a mountain and look up at a star and see a moon going around a planet. That's foolishness, y'all. That is real foolishness. Now, and I can tell you that is foolishness because I look at the stars all the time, baby. So check this out. This telescope don't lie. My eyes don't lie. I never saw a solid object up at that night sky. I only see luminaries. I only see light fixtures. Okay, and I never saw anything orbiting anything. I will tell you this. I see a lot of movement. I see a lot of lights just appear out of nowhere and shoot across the sky. I see some stars that's moving real fast. I see a bunch of movement, and I see a bunch of fixed lights too. So it's dynamic, but I never see this crap that people want to make true with what NASA's saying. I got my own telescope and spent a lot of money on it just to prove it for myself, and I did just that, okay? When you get your telescope, you will see what I'm talking about. Otherwise, you will hear like you can look out a telescope at a moon orbiting a planet. Now, people, that's baloney, okay? What this really is the Aztec sunstone, all right? The X represents the woman's chromosome, which is the dominant chromosome, and it should be revered, not desecrated like these heliocentrists are doing. Think about it, people. They are called heliocentrists. He is the first two words, not she. Something else that need to be pointed out, the word hex means curse. It's a curse. The word hex and the letter X has completely no relation. Now you got patriarchs that want to make it a relation so they can say that the X chromosome is a curse, so they can again blame the woman for everything and say that the woman is a curse. These same patriarchs blame the woman in the Garden of Eden, y'all. They said that the woman was created from a man stinking doggone real. Then she turned around and screwed everything up and messed the whole world up. That's how they feel about you women. Now you got a lot of comedic guys, they's talking more rough on a woman than the Bible is, man. Because when you stand up there and say that something wrong with the X and that Mother Earth is cursed, and that the mother is cursed, and this planet X, that's a blatant attack on the feminine. So we see that these patriarchs getting real desperate, and they getting real deep in this time on this attack of the divine feminine, on the attack of the creator and on the creation, man. You know, so it's important we get back to ancient matriarch cosmology, people. You see how desperate they getting. Now these guys will tell you that the word hets, that the X at the end mean that the female is cursed. Come on, people. And it'd be somebody real ignorant to stand there and believe such a thing when the word hex is just short for hexagon. So how is a hexagon a curse? Because a hexagon makes a cube. And this is why they say think outside of the box. If you don't think outside of the box, then you're cursed. You're stuck in the normal way of thinking of society. And now instead of teachers telling you that and telling you to ask questions and think outside the box, they rather keep you inside of the box. They don't want you to get outside of the box. They rather turn the box into Earth itself. Now, I just told you that hex mean hexagon and the hexagon is the cube, but these guys will tell you that the X in hexagon is the Earth planet is a prison. You tell me which one make most sense. Okay, the X is beautiful. It represents the perfect intersection that's perfect for life. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise, because they interpreting their reality all negative, because this what the elite is seeding right now. Hex is short for hexagon, and the hexagon is only the cube, the box that most of your teachers just don't want to think outside of. Okay, so the only way to break the hex is to think outside the box, people, or basically think the complete opposite of what the government say. So think of the Matrix movie. Neo had to think the complete opposite of all the Matrix zombies, right? He had to think the opposite of them to be able to see through the doggone Matrix, okay? So it takes a special person, and they said Neo was the one. See, it's easy to go with the NASA lies and the social globalism norm that we've been getting since children with this spinning globe. You don't have to be chosen at all to do that, people, because anybody can do it. But to go against the norm and challenge the government and to challenge the higher ups in the world powers, all while facing ridicule from the very society you trying to save, now that's Christ-like. That's a real chosen individual right there. Ladies and gentlemen, you won't find any of my facts or beliefs that are parallel to any of the lies that's been given from our evil higher ups. And if I ever start spending my time to prove to you how the government is right or not lying about something, you better believe I done sold out. Okay? Common sense will tell you not to accept anything from compulsive liars. So anybody out there calling themselves a teacher and what they saying ain't no different than what the government's saying, then why you need to learn it from them? You might well go listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson. You might as well just go cut your TV on. If you on YouTube listen to somebody giving you the same exact science NASA give you and back it up when NASA keep changing it up and can't make their mind up. Now, everybody that don't work for the government, you got a lot of people out here with YouTube channels who want to grow and get famous. So they say stuff that they think the government would like, hoping that, you know, somebody get them a phone call one day. I don't care how much they want to call me a flat tart, flat brain, flat earther, flat psyop. I'll take all of that ridicule. Okay, long as I know I'm telling my ancestor story and not NASA story, I can sleep good at night. Negative people can't help but see this awesome creation in a negative light. That's just like the same people who telling us about this planet X crap and the earth being a hex and the feminine being a hex. These the same people that's saying that the body is even a prison. Your body is even a curse. Sits carbon. I'ma just tell you this, that's BS. Carbon is good. When you say carbon, the first two letters is Ca, and we talking about Ka, which represents the spirit or the soul, so that's Ka energy. When we talk about the spirit and the body can only exist because the spirit is inside. So the spirit and the body ain't separate from one another. They both go together symbiotically. So for people that saying that the body is a curse, that's a lie. People who just throw the brilliant body under the rug due to their own negative negative perception don't even realize the connection between the body and the spirit, and the fact that the body is what makes up the physical aspect to the multidimensional you. All right, that's part of the multidimensional self. If you was just all spirit, you wouldn't be multidimensional, people. Dimensions ain't places out in space, people. Dimensions are layers of the cosmic egg. All right, so if you get any kind of other information than that, it's false, people. I'm sorry. All right, it's spookism. The meshing together of all of dimensions is what create existence itself, so they can't be separate from each other, people. It's a cosmic egg, and it's layers upon layers. All right, so understand that the body can't be a curse. The body is so precious. The body is what allows the spirit to have a physical experience. Okay, understand that it wouldn't be possible without this precious tool called the body that the Most High created. So for people that saying that the body is a curse, that's a lie. The spirit couldn't even enjoy this reality without the body. The spirit created this body in order to even tune into this reality. So what you got to understand is it wasn't a curse for the spirit to come here, and you didn't fall here. The spirit chose and was attracted to this great abode. Okay, make no doubt about that. Don't let nobody tell you coming here is a mistake. You chose to be in this great place. You have a mission here and a duty here. Okay, so understand that when you say sit, you're just talking about the Merkaba. Okay, the body and the spirit. We're talking about carbon. We're talking about ka. We're talking about a bonding of carbon. We're talking about a bonding of the spirit and the flesh. So basically, when the spirit wills itself into existence, the vehicle created is the flesh. All right, and that alchemy works through what's called carbon. So when you look at the word carbon with the Ca associating with the spirit of the soul, we're talking about the actual act of the soul wielding itself into being. Now that's knowledge for your mind. So when you talk about the sit, just understand all you saying is 3 sixes. That's the 360 degrees. 3 sixes is the same as the circle, because 360 degrees, when you put the sits inside of there, it squares itself out. 6 times 6 is 36. So all you talking about is the circle, because when you look at the Merkaba, you got 2 inverted diamonds. If you was to fill all that space in, you'll get a spear. So the connection of this Merkaba is what even creates the spherical aura around your being. Just like the spherical aura, what they call in the corona that's around the sun, you shine in the same way. As above, so below. Understand that your body ain't no curse. Your body is a work of art, sophisticated technology made by the Most High. Listen, y'all better stop letting these people deceive y'all to have this blasphemous type mind state because they negative. You better start perceiving your own reality for yourself, for you been a committed suicide around here with all this negativity. Perception is everything, people. You can perceive yourself into your own hell to where you don't even want to live no more. Let no one shape your perception of reality. If someone want to be miserable and that's the way they want to look at the world, people, don't let them convince you to do that. It's just not a good message to leave to these kids. One thing you got to realize about heliocentrism is that there's an end to their universe. That's an end to their cosmology. And all heliocentric cosmology, since everything is expanding and speeding out through gravity and flying out in the vacuum of darkness, eventually everything separates until it's nothing. And that's just like saying the Most High isn't an infinite God. And it's crazy that, you know, we going through all of these bizarre speeds through the universe, but yet we see the same constellations and stars that our ancestors saw. We've been bamboozled, people. So what I want you to take away from this is that misinformation can make you a miserable and negative person, because what comes along with all of this Planet X information is these guys telling you that upon death, you got to go through this chaotic cosmos, okay? And you got to find your way through certain stargates and stuff. People, that's really insane, okay? That's really a spooky realization, a spooky reality, people. And it really doesn't help our children any. I mean, we really got to give our children more than spook stories, okay? And for people that saying that this planet's such a hellhole, you just tell it to those kids that's playing in the playground with the biggest smiles you ever saw on their faces. They seem to be enjoying this planet. You see, it ain't till we grow up and society stains us and we go through a little stuff in life. And you know, there are some who just can't handle the pressures of life and they misinterpret life. They are not strong, so they just want to leave this place. And that's next to suicide. If the world is so bad and you see it as a hell and it's such a miserable place, why live, people? Okay, your children might end up being suicide victims with that kind of message and that type of spook theology. So understand that there's nothing wrong with the X, and that the earth is divine, and that this is a heaven. Otherwise, the creator wouldn't have created it. It's how you perceiving it, people. We know that this planet has its goods and bads, but I want y'all to keep some in mind. Us Americans have no right to call this planet a hell for real. You gotta look at some of these people in third world countries, what they going through and everything, with diseases and famine and flies on them, can barely get clean water. And you know what I come to realize? That those people who are in the worst conditions on the planet are actually happier than us Americans, with all of our spoiled entertainment and restaurants and everything we got. Them people are happier than us, and they barely got anything but the clothes on their back. So it's our perception. You can give somebody everything and they'll still commit suicide. Look at some of these rich people. It's about your perception of your reality. And once you get out here with a negative mentality, viewing everything negative like that, you already defeated. The creator ain't intend for you to have that type attitude about this creation. And the X is a very divine symbol. The X represents the sacred intersection that's responsible for life, people. So this symbol is sacred on many levels. And when you talk about intersection, that's all the X is. And you know, if the man never intersects with the woman, life will never happen. You can't even form an unk without the intersection, people. So come on now. That's what happened when you attach patriarch fear to this stuff. All right, because when you attack the X, you attack the whole principle, the whole divine aspect of the man and woman coming together. You got to think about it. This is coming from patriarchs now with a homosexual culture. So of course they don't want the intersection happening, just like they don't want it happening today with all of this population control. The X is the mama. That's the dominant chromosome. That X represents a lot of significance. So never look at it in a bad way. And always remember this, that part of you getting back to true spirituality is understanding the matriarch cosmology, because the patriarchs have corrupted the world today, people. You got to get out of it. Now, part of understanding the matriarch cosmology is to understand that the divine feminine produced the matriarch through marriage. Like I said previously, like a beehive. When you see a beehive, you see one queen bee in one hive. You don't see a queen bee managing a million hives. You see one queen bee dedicated to that hive. And that's what the creator thinks of you. See, that's how special he is. Y'all, you must understand that there's nothing like the human being and there's nothing like the planet Earth. It's all unique, and what we are experiencing, there's no other beings in the cosmos experiencing it. That's how special we are. So like I said, this will lead to a whole nother progression in human evolution spiritually and how we looking at our reality, because what we've been given by NASA is not near as this divine. All right, this places humanity where we need to be, and it places Mother Earth where she needs to be. And it's so understandable why the ancestors had this matriarch cosmology. Let me tell y'all something about all of these guys who got a problem with the feminine aspect and everything. You got to understand that they are single men, and that most of these guys aren't comfortable around women in real life. All right, most guys who are comfortable dealing with the female species and who understand and love women and understand the feminine principle, we're comfortable around the female species, and we're comfortable with the divinity of her position. We're not trying to battle with the woman with what nature gave her the life-bringing role. We're not doing that. See, that's the whole thing about a marriage. The man gets on his knees. The woman don't get on her knees. The man gets on his knees. And I'm gonna tell you something. something. Any real man don't have no problem doing that. But most of these guys who come with this stigma against the feminine principle, they would have a problem doing that. Most of these guys gonna die loners and single because they have an idiotic concept toward the feminine aspect. Okay, you gotta understand that you can't look at everything bad in your reality. It's good and bad to everything. If you always choose to perceive stuff bad, your spirit will never grow. The X represents the X chromosome, that divine feminine that give birth to the X and the Y. So this little picture in front of you right here just show you how the X and Y act out below the waistline or just on a physical level. You can see how the woman's sexual organ forms an X, and you can see how the man, his sexual organs in the middle part forms a Y. So you can even see how this act out physically. So understand that when you look at the Y, you just looking at the X with a leg broken off. Understand that the X can create the Y, but the Y can't create the X, okay? Understand that. The woman can create the woman and the man, but the man can produce neither. The man gives the like charge to the egg that's already in the woman. Why do we try so hard to take away the divinity of the woman? As above, so below. That woman's divinity is divine in a human form, and it's divine in the form of Mother Earth. She is not dominated by a sun, and we won't get our true cosmology back until we accept that matriarchal fact and get out of this patriarchal crap. So never forget that. Never let nobody deceive you and put you in fear mode. None of this knowledge is meant to induce fear. So right away when you start getting that fear tactic involved with the knowledge, you get away from it, because all of this stuff is supposed to produce love. Love is the only thing that can grow your spirit, people. Okay, we gotta have love for one another and quit bashing and name calling people because they don't agree with the norm. We got to think outside of the box. The X and the hex have no relation. Don't let nobody tell you that the woman is a hex, because the hex is just an abbreviation for hexagon, and the hexagon is the cube. Always remember that. So think outside that cube. Think outside the box, because that's the only thing that can break the hex. See, it has nothing to do with the earth being cursed or the woman being cursed. The X chromosome is divine. The letter X is divine. And just remember that there's nothing in between you and the creator. So upon death, you don't have to answer to any other beings but the source, but the creator. I gotta get out of here, people. Peace and much love.